I just didn't know what to do. I never heard of this. Hi everyone, my name's Ruth Ann. I'm a PSW and the owner of Forest City Home Care. So this month marks 1 year since I've become a PSW. It was this month that I received my exam results and I had nailed the NAC exam. I was really excited about what was in store for me. I was leaving another industry to join healthcare at a time where they were in distress and the government was asking people to join this field to help relieve our nurses and PSWs and to assist the residents who were in desperate need. So this video is about the 1 year that I've been a PSW and just some of the highlights of what it was like for me. First thing I want to share with you is the day that I received my results, and I was feeling really proud of myself. I was happy with my grades. I was happy with my achievement. That same day that I got my results, I had also, within 1 hour of receiving my results, I had received a phone call. It went to voice message, and it was a company I had applied to work for. And it was really an ideal role with an ideal company as far as PSW work goes. And when I saw that I was getting a call so soon, I felt pretty cocky. And I didn't do a lot of the things I normally would do going into a phone call where there was a potential job opportunity. So I didn't research the company in more detail. I didn't research the role in more detail. I didn't make some notes about some important points that I would want to mention about myself. I didn't work this out like I normally would because, like I said, I felt like there was such a high demand for PSWs that there would be no issue getting work. So I picked up the phone and I called them back, feeling pretty high as a kite, and I just didn't do well on the call. I didn't portray myself as strongly as I could have. I just didn't do myself justice. I rambled, I wasn't prepared, I didn't know things that they asked me about their company. And needless to say, I didn't get asked for an actual interview. So I wasn't distressed because I felt like there are so many opportunities available to me right now that I didn't really need to, be upset about not nailing this job interview. But learn from this. I mean, no matter how confident you feel about the role and about your skills, do your due diligence, do some research on the company, on the role, and know if you're like me and you could ramble on, make some notes. My first job as a PSW was actually at the same long-term care facility that I had done my training at. So my school had sent me to a specific place in order to get my hands on training. So the staff knew me, the residents knew me, the admin knew me, and it was just a sure thing. So I got that job. However, so when I got the offer, it wasn't for a PSW role, it was for a basic aid. So it's not unusual for a company to hire you as a basic aid if you're waiting for your certification to come in. If you haven't written your exam, but you're pretty confident you're gonna pass, they might hire you as a basic aid. And when you receive your certificate, they'll change your title to personal support worker. So I had already received my certificate, I got my grades, and I had already presented that to this employer. The offer came in, it was for basic aid. So I did reach out and I did inquire about this and I let them know that I had my certificate. I didn't really hear back. So I thought, they would just make the adjustments on their end and, they're busy, they're not gonna necessarily reach out to me. But then when my first pay came, I was still titled as basic aid. So basic aid is kind of housekeeping. I'm not sure all what their role is, but what I've seen them do is in the morning, they'll go into each room and empty, the little waste baskets that are in the residents' rooms. We don't put any dirty briefs, anything soiled in those garbages. They would empty those bins and I'm not sure what more because I was not trained in that role. But they don't require certification of any kind. They don't require the amount of education we had to do to become a PSW. It's really kind of you're hired and you're trained on the job and off you go. So, unless I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong. If you know more about that role, then let me know. I was being paid as a basic aide and I was titled as a basic aide, but I was being scheduled and I was working as a PSW. And it's backbreaking work in a facility. You have a lot of running around to do and a lot of people to take care of, and especially being short-staffed. Staffing is an issue, as you know. That's why I became a PSW, to come to the rescue. But once I got there, I wasn't really helping people, connect the dots. I was now in a situation where we were short-staffed and a lot of weight is on my shoulders. Just the combination of really hard work and not getting my emails or phone calls responded to, not being lucky that when I go to the office, someone's there to talk to them about what's going on. And then by the time 3 pays had passed and nothing was corrected and no one had reached out to me, someone had suggested that I go to the union. And so I emailed someone asking for the information for the union. And that email they responded to, and quite aggressively, telling me that they won't give it to me. I can go check this board in some room in the facility next time I'm there to get this number. They weren't going to provide it to me. So I didn't hear any response to my concerns about being a basic aide and working as a PSW. I didn't hear any response to my concerns about pay. Different 3 pay cycles had passed and it hadn't been corrected. But when I got serious and frustrated and I wanted to go to the union, in fact, someone had advised me, you better go to the union about this. It's not right. That email they did respond to, and in a really aggressive way. So the atmosphere for me just didn't turn out to be a place I could stay for long. I really needed a little bit more of a structure than what they were offering me. However, while I was there were agency PSWs that they would work for an agency, not the facility, and they would get called in to pick up last minute shifts to help relieve, the staff. And these guys earned a higher salary than a PSW. I was working as a basic aide, so I was earning $1 less than even a PSW, but these guys made more money than the PSWs at the facility, and also had incentives for picking up a last minute shift or a night shift or a weekend shift. Another thing they benefited from, apart from a higher salary, was that when they'd arrive, because they weren't regular staff, they didn't necessarily know all the residents, especially the residents who required extensive care. They didn't know what the care was. So often, as a time saver, the agency people would get, the more straightforward client residents that you could just go in and kind of wing it. They can even tell you what they need. So they would get the easier residents to take care of, and regular staff would have to take care of the people who needed more extensive care. It makes sense to me, but with the situation I was going through, the next move I made was applying for an agency position, which I got hired. And that time I did my due diligence and I did the research that I needed to do, and I nailed the interview. Upon being hired, I had to dish out some money to do a vulnerable sector check, and I had to dish out some money to get a mask fitting test done. And then, to my surprise, 3 months would go by without getting any work from the agency, without getting sent out to a facility. And again, no response to emails and no response to phone calls. So coming from a different industry where I had an administrative role, I just didn't know what to do. I never heard of this. I never worked for places that didn't respond to emails. I mean, we had SLAs, service level agreements, that kind of required you to respond at least to say we got your email and we'll get back to you shortly, just something. But this industry wasn't getting that kind of experience as of yet. So what did I do during those 3 months waiting for work? Well, I built a company. I kind of brainstormed and recognized that this work was backbreaking, and I love the work. I love this role. I really do. But I would be so exhausted after a few shifts that any days off I had were spent recuperating. I couldn't really go out with the kids. I couldn't really go out for a coffee or do anything fun. I would just be resting and readying myself to go back to work. So keeping that in mind, and how the quality of life was not getting better, my quality of life was getting worse, I was thinking of ways to be able to do this wonderfully fulfilling work and also not have to break my back over it, you know? So I started to build this company while I was waiting for work to come in. More of a side hustle that maybe I could pick up a private client here or there, and it could keep me afloat. I could pick up less shifts at the facility since they're hard on you, and I can just fill the gaps with some private clients. Who knows, maybe one day it'll pick up. It was just sort of an idea, and I had the time and I ran with it, and I'm glad I did. But to be honest, in those 3 months where I was building this company and putting out ads and waiting for the agency to come through for me, waiting for clients to start calling me for my business, it was just waiting. 3 months went by and I was a PSW with no work. And I never anticipated that because there was such a demand for PSWs, or at least that's what I was hearing. And now I'm thinking there's no demand. Maybe I started to think maybe the government was just encouraging people to become PSWs, but you would get a line of credit as part of this package of government assistance and becoming a PSW. Part of the package would be a line of credit. And I was just wondering, are they lying to people saying that, you know, they need PSWs, become a PSW just so that they could issue credit? Are they just issuing credit to get people in debt? I don't know. I don't know. Even now, I don't know. But what I can tell you is I didn't waste a second. I worked on my business. I placed ads. I got better and better with each call I got and with each ad I made. And I just got better at it as I continued to engage in building this business. However, I wasn't getting any clients yet, and the agency hadn't sent me anywhere yet. After the 3 months of waiting, I applied and got a job at another facility, a long-term care facility, and they just had a better handle on responding to emails and returning phone calls. They were just a little bit more prepared to support their staff, and I had a wonderful time there. I was hired, I got a full-time line. They hired me as a PSW, not a basic aid, and I was thrilled. And I had a really nice experience there. After several months of working there, I started to get clients through my business. And I was juggling both my work at the facility and my work in home care, working for myself. Point where I was able to eventually quit my job at the facility, a job I really liked, and I could have stayed there for a lot longer, but I wanted to give all my energy to the clients that were hiring me personally to take care of them. And that is a wonderful experience that allows me to work as a PSW and share all the skills, just spend time studying to share and put my whole heart into the work I'm doing. It allows me to deal with a client one-on-one and not so much rushing and running to the next. I can be with one person and give them my undivided attention, and the work is just lighter. It's lighter, and I can give all the best parts of me and not be completely exhausted at the end of the shift. And just, I have more to give, more to go around. So in the end, it worked out great. I am now self-employed. I'm curious to hear what your experiences were like. Is there anyone out there who had a similar experience to me where work was just not that straightforward, the support in the facility wasn't there? Does anyone have these experiences out there? Maybe talking about them will help facilities improve on the kind of experience they're giving PSWs. I think there really is a demand for PSWs, but if they're overworked and underpaid and mistreated, then that's going to trickle through in the care they're giving, and that's where you open a door for abuse. I leveraged all my negative experiences and turned it into something that was my own, where I can share my skills as a PSW and provide a really valuable service to people who really need it at a fair price. And I'm thrilled to be where I am. I don't regret this PSW adventure whatsoever. So I'm curious to hear if there's anyone out there who comes across this video and has a different experience that they'd like to share, or a similar experience. I'd be really interested to hear that. I'd love to know that it wasn't just me. But all these incidences that happened that slowed me down in securing some good work really helped me find my voice. It really introduced me to an industry that's different than the one I'm coming from. Keep an eye out for another video that I'm working on that talks about the different things that happened that led me to leave that industry and join healthcare as a PSW. My name's Ruth Ann. I'm a proud personal support worker and the owner of Forest City Home Care. I hope this video helps you find your path, whether it's as a PSW or otherwise. And if anything I said discourages you and helps you realize this is not the industry for you, then that's great too. I'm sure you're going to provide a lot of value wherever you wind up. So thanks for watching.